Hello, true art believers. I am back for another live art stream. This is Pierson here. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and it is 212 of 300 days of drawing. Day 212. That is getting up there in days. I've done 212 live streams just this year. That is amazing. I'm quite proud of that fact. So today we're going to start drawing some more clouds, and we're going to call them level noob. Anyways, let's begin today's drawing, and shall we? Let's start. Let's go. All right, friends, true art believers, I hope you are doing well today. I am doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. So let's begin. And we're just going to be doing more. I'll try to do some more. There we go. I can zoom in. That's what I want to do. I might need to make the actual piece larger again. So we're going to just kind of start out by using a pencil brush. And we're just going to do what I've been doing lately is basically just doing doing these kind of like curvilinear shapes and then making them into clouds. So we're just going to take these forms and then make them into these cloud-like shapes. So that's what we're doing is taking these forms and making them into clouds. And basically what I do is basically no, I treat them as if they're like the cloud, those half arcing ellipse forms are going all around the shapes that I'm making. So they're kind of treated as if this is like a rail, and that's the pathway that the clouds kind of move around, how they kind of move around my abstract forms here. So I think this will be enough to kind of finish out the page for today. So now what I do is I zoom in a little bit and I kind of just start out with these like arcing like motions. You know, there's no right way or wrong way to approach, but I treat them like just like little fluffy little arcing motions here. And that's what I'm doing is just kind of arcing around the rail that I made here. And just treating it as such that I kind of keep following that pathway. And these are just kind of from imagination. They're not even from imagination. I'm just kind of following a rule set that I've established to kind of create some of these clouds, and then hoping that the system kind of allows for interesting and dynamic outcomes. So I don't know if I like that, but we're not going to hold these clouds precious. So we're not going to hold these forms that I'm working on as precious. And we're just going to move around and do as many as we can in the next 30 minutes or so, and then call it a day because it's a late day. It's been a really long day. You ever have those days where you wish you could have performed better or done better in certain aspects of the day? That's what today feels like, you know. And I just kind of drop the ball with certain things, and it happens. I think we all deal with that type of situation. You know, we all want to perform better every day, and then sometimes there's days that you're just kind of working through the motions. You're just kind of going through the motions. So this is what it kind of looks like. You have these like little cloud formations, and that is not what's going to make these clouds. Really, what's going to make them is how I kind of play around with the shadows and so forth, and how I kind of play around with the forms in the inside of these abstract shapes that I'm making here. So that doesn't make the clouds that I'm making. It's the manipulation of the internal structures of these imaginary shapes that makes them a little bit more interesting. Although I do feel that I'm getting a little bit too rigid or formulaic with this strategy. So I've been trying to be mindful of that. And I need to kind of add a little bit more variety with how I move the pencil around the surface and how I kind of manipulate my forms here. So I think with this one, I'm going to feel like this, like if this was a cloud, like this is like a neck and it has a bunch of wrinkles on it. If I were going to make this like an actual cloud, it'd be like that. Maybe what if this is like a little plum shape or like a soft, pillowy type form? I don't know. There you go. And then once we get done with these like shapes, that's when I go where I go in and kind of manipulate the value and kind of like picture where the light's coming from or picture a light source, and I kind of create implied core shadows, implied cast shadows, or simple basic like flats or flat shadow forms. I don't like how that looks. Here we go. Just kind of keep going. And you want to kind of just not worry about the about your work, about your drawings. Just kind of keep working, and hopefully there'll be some nice outcomes in the end. Because right now I'm really kind of fatigued mentally. I can I feel myself kind of straining to get unique shapes with these clouds, you know. So now that we have our like generic cartoon looking cloud shapes here, what we can do is we can kind of tighten up the lines a little bit. So I shrunk the brush a little bit so that I can kind of have some tighter lines and make a kind of play around with the line quality. Maybe that might be too intense actually. I don't know. So we're going to play around with the line quality, kind of tighten up these lines some. And I feel like the level of fatigue that set in today, like I'm really tired and I'm squinting. I'm squinting. That's how fatigued I am. So like when you're squinting, you know that you're tired. You're like when you're squinting, you're just trying to like just stay awake. I'm just gonna stay awake and finish this drawing, bro. I just gotta stay awake and finish this drawing. And that's what I feel like right now. It's like I just gotta stay awake for the next 20 minutes and then call it a day. That's I'm dreaming of my bed right now. But I set out a goal of doing 300 days of drawing, and I even set up the odd goal of doing 100 days of clouds, and then with the hopes that I will have improved at the end of those 100 days, you know. And there might be some growth here. I don't know. So just kind of tighten up the lines, basically outlining it so it feels well more like a cartoon, but I just want to play around with the line quality with this pencil like a brush that I have here. I don't know if it's necessary to do this. I don't think it's going to make or break. I don't think it's going to make or break the drawing, but I think it's just a good thing to kind of have. and practice the kind of practice around the idea of implementing line quality. And really, it's just kind of elaborate way of saying, oh, I'm just going to make things darker. I do notice that I'm slowing down, and that's not a good thing. I feel because it's late and my mental capacity to process information is kind of stilted, stunted. Um, I can feel that my decision making is not as good as it could be, and I feel like it's trailing off into the work itself, and it's slowing the execution. It's slowing my the speed of which I'm moving my pencil, and that goes to say it's really important, in my opinion, that getting your sleep, getting ample amount of sleep, is a really a thing that all of us should probably spend more time doing. I think it's a massively undervalued activity, and you know, in today's world, we're always trying to like maximize how much our day, and we're trying to stay up later and later and foregoing sleep because we think that it doesn't have an effect on us. And I really do believe that you need to have a good 8 hours. And I'm always at a deficit. I'm usually always getting like working at like about 6 to 7 hours. Very rarely do I get a good solid 8. I've been trying to change that, though. I've been trying to change that. Uh, Even though I really do want to get up earlier because I feel that getting up earlier is a great way to be as productive and getting lots of things done. Um, I value sleep more, and I've been trying to slowly hack away at that habit of trying to get up early or going to bed late. Even though I'm going to be going to bed late tonight, you know, that's one of the problems of doing these live streams is there's days that I can't do them at the time frame that I'd like, you know. So what I'm doing here is just I'm basically just kind of like creating like these two-tone clouds, and just kind of imagining like if these clouds were black and white, or if these clouds had like a light source from the top, which obviously they do, right? Generally, the sun is pointing downward. Generally the sun is pointing downward, so that will create the light hits this area and this area and this area, and these right here are pretty much the bottom half of those clouds, creating that kind of cast shadow effect. And I'm basically making a very overly simplistic approach, doing an overly simplistic approach to creating clouds right now. And I assume that within as time progresses and as I become more skilled and more observant and have a better understanding of how I can render clouds, that I'll get them. I'll start talking about them in a different manner, and I'll start implementing new strategies as I'm introduced to them in the next 100 days. I have been trying my best to do new strategies, and the only one I've kind of introduced has simply been the one where I did the background shape and kind of drew the cloud forms around it as like a rail. And I've been doing that to kind of circumvent the standard generic like cloud shape that we all do, which is that this kind of cloud shape. You know, the one that looks like a thought bubble. So that's what I've been doing is trying to avoid that as I've been doing those random kind of shapes to kind of create a more interesting like dynamic cloud forms. I'm still in cactus mode. I've done the past like not even like 12 days ago. About 12 days ago, I just finished drawing my last cactus. So I'm still thinking about cactuses. I can't get them out of my head. Yeah, so I'm just keeping it very simple, not trying to reinvent the wheel, not trying to uh, overly challenge myself. I will challenge myself, but I'm not. Yeah, I will challenge myself, but I just want to go slightly above my abilities, or slightly above what my net norm is, like my net like whenever you're working out, you know, you can let's say that you can bench press 135 pounds really easily. You want to kind of improve a little bit, so you bench press a little bit higher than that, you know. So I'm trying to increase my baseline of abilities, right? So this is like my baseline where I just kind of casually do these clouds and not necessarily trying to go above my skill level where I'm challenging myself. Otherwise, it becomes kind of not fun. So I want to do a little bit where I just go a little bit above my baseline and or a little bit above my baseline, a little bit above my average ability. So like this is like what I do. This is like my average skill set right now. It's like I'm just how I am. Like, you know, I'm not like going above it at the moment or above my knowledge level. So we're just going to make this area a little bit darker here because I feel like this area is kind of folding in or something. Who knows? And maybe this area could be darker too. Because this feels like it's like behind. Like this area feels like the top, and these areas feel like they're behind a little bit. They're kind of tilting inward. All right, we're not going to do that outlining stuff. I think I might just kind of well, I will outline some of it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's play around here. I always like to say that I'm playing around because if I treat the drawing as if it's like this serious thing, I'll get really rigid. I'll lock up, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that with my drawings. I want to be kind of more fluid, you know, more organic with the approach, and just have a little bit of fun. Not focus too much on the on whether or not this is like these are good drawings. Just kind of hope that each one's going to be a little bit better than the previous one, and so forth, or like you're progressing in a fashion that is showing growth in some way or another. It's showing something. It's showing a level of maturation, like maturity and growth steadily. We're not talking about like leaps and bounds of growth, just like small adaptation, small growth, small tweaks, small improvements, tiny improvements in the overall skill, the overall approach. Yeah, just kind of playing around and seeing how things kind of fall through or how they kind of come to fruition here. And if you notice I am squinting, it's because I'm trying real hard. I got 10 minutes of drawing left, and I'll be very happy if I'm able to kind of knock that out. It's a late day to me. Oops, that's don't mind that. That never happens. So I feel like this area is like the front, and I feel like this back area is like the back, like that's receding in the background. So I think maybe I'll do a little bit of experimentation. I'll use this. I made the brush really wide so that I can kind of treat it like a more like a graphite, like I'm making graphite powder or something. Yeah, see what that does. I kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know how I can control it yet, but I think that there's some potential there for using that brush at that like size. I don't know how I'd pursue it, or I would have to practice using that brush at that scale to really understand it. So that's what I feel like. Right here is like the back side of the cloud, and this is the front. And maybe I should kind of put the. I'm trying to I'm trying to press some of the press with my stylus here, and it's not sensitive enough. Doesn't it can't tell if I'm pressing. I was hoping that I'd be able to get like some like subtle variation degree of gradient. So I might be able to do that. But I'm going to have to make this back area darker just so I can get that feeling, right? All right. So it looks like I might get like one more cloud done after this one. So basically I've drawn a bunch of clouds, and I did like last time I did the same amount. I did a bunch of clouds, and I did about 4 or 5 that I kind of played around with value to kind of see how they kind of shape out to be, how they kind of look. There we go. Something like this. Maybe right here. Maybe do the same here. Kind of a little bit of. I'm going to make this area dark. Make it dark and thick to kind of express that this is area. This area is darker. Well, not as darker, but also kind of in the background. All right, so let's kind of play around. Maybe I'll play around with this cloud right here, and we'll just kind of make a really. I'm going to use that brush that I was using. Just kind of make this kind of a dark area, and maybe I'm gonna treat this like this bottom area is like a ball, maybe kind of like a ball shape. It feels a cloud. Maybe this is like a storm cloud. It looks more like a nuclear plum like explosion cloud. All right. So now we're just gonna kind of add these shapes here. I'm using a much bigger brush than before. So it feels like I'm making it kind of like into like the storm-like cloud. Treat like a little storm cloud, I guess. This. and pretend like there's sunlight coming from here. And then, so this is going to have like this cast shadow right here. That's what I'm thinking. Like there's going to be this shadow happening right here, which means this area right here, that the cloud is in, I'm going to make that darker because I'm assuming that as light goes in here, right, or as less light goes in here, that means this is going to be darker. So I'm going to make this darker than this area that the shadow's being created. So it's going to be like a dark, stormy cloud looking thing. And right here is let's do something else here. Like I make this brush really big here again, and I want to fill this area out. Yeah, kind of like a stormy looking cloud. There we go. It's kind of a so it's taken some time, but I think I'm getting used to this pencil brush a little bit more. I'm playing around with uh, the size of the brush and seeing how that kind of reacts. I think I have enough time to kind of fiddle around with this. I have less than 2 minutes. I think I'll fiddle around with this one. Again, I think this is going to be the front and this is going to be the back side of the cloud. So I want to make this area darker. Unfortunately, all these clouds are going to look like stormy clouds. And the only reason why I'm making them darker is because I want to kind of play around with a shadow. And I want to have a good range of light to darken. So I'm over exaggerating the dark tones simply for the sake of creating like dynamic shadows or more interesting shadows. That might be my excuse. It also could be because the brushes themselves, the uh, the tablet is not as sensitive as I like it to be, and so I'm trying to whenever I can't press too light because it won't make a mark. So I'm kind of disappointed about how sensitive my tablet is. So imagine with it like there's a sunlight source here, kind of creating an array of sun, like around here. That's where the light is, right? And so I'm thinking that because the light source is here, I'm imagining that like right here, there's a cast shadow being made. That's what I'm imagining that of what is occurring to create some of the illusion. So I'm imagining that that's happening, and that's why I'm creating this dark cast shadow right here, because I imagine that there's light right there, and this is blocked because the light source is right here, and that's why we got that strong cast shadow. Okay, just playing around with the way I'm hatching, see how that looks. I don't know if I like it, but it was a nice little experiment, nice little break away from what I normally do. And so this is it. This is all I got done today. So as you can see, I think there's some growth. There's some definite like improvement. Very micro though. But I'm really happy that I was able to get at least that, at least to see something happen in that time frame. Well, anyways, I think I'm done for the day. That means I'm going to go ahead and do my signature right here. We're going to go and we're just going to put like P. No, that's too large. Put like P 21, and it's 212 out of 300. So day 212. Put like day. Something like that. Maybe put day. I don't know. Put day. There you go. I think that's there. Day 212 out of 300. Okay. And that is it for the day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Again, each day is its own adventure, and I hope you have the same adventure that everyone else has, which is the adventure of life. Anyhow, I got to move this out of the way. I can't move that. I'm going to hit the microphone. I got to get going. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Get some rest. Starting of a new week. Anyways, I am the #1 live art streamer in the world. This is Pierson here. Thank you for watching. Cheers.